I am currently going over my final checklist, making sure I have everything I need, which I think I do, but also I will 100% forget something essential. I'm going on a tuna trip down to San Diego, meeting up with my buddy Troy, and we are going to hopefully get some big fish. Every year they say, oh, it's the best tuna fishing we've seen in history, and they've been saying that for the last 5 or 6 years, and somehow it just keeps getting better and better. I'm not complaining about that, but I'm going to go down and fish with Troy. We're going to hunt for some big bluefin tuna. If we get limits, then they'll switch to fishing for yellowfin tuna, and then potentially yellowtail too. It just depends on what they find out there and what we're seeing, but yeah, it should be sweet. This is 100% a meat run, so we are going to go down there, hopefully find some fish, and then all day Sunday when we get back, break down as much of this fish as humanly possible, vacuum seal it. I literally bought a deep freezer just to keep all this fish, and I'm still going to probably have to give half of it away. Shooting or killing these tuna is like literally shooting a deer. It's ridiculous how much meat they have on them. But yeah, so we're going to get down. I'm going to head down there now. About an 8-hour drive to Troy's house, and then I've got 2 coolers strapped down in the back of my truck. If I need another one, depending on how many fish we catch, if I need another one, I'll just pick another one up down there. But I'm gonna get my stuff, and we're gonna freaking head out of here and get down to Los Angeles. Boots, we'll test these things out. I'm not super confident that they're gonna be that good, but whatever. Got a jacket because it might be cold. Boots, all of this nonsense. Somehow I was able to get everything, including my camera gear, to fit in this bag, which I'm not complaining. Lens is a little bit dirty, not anymore. Ice chest, probably gonna need more than that. So I usually don't get that seasick. I haven't gotten that seasick in a lot of contexts, but this stuff right here, scopolamine, can absolutely save the day for you if you get seasick. I have been seasick one time, and it was the worst experience I've ever had. The worst type of sickness, because it's just not anything you can do about it, and it just sucks, and you're just miserable. Sorry, little podcast going on. It's such a weird sickness, and you just can't stop vomiting, and it sucks, and it's gross, and I wouldn't wish it on anybody. So I bring this, and I'm going to wear this just to be safe, because I like to think I'm seasick, or I don't get seasick, but also that's when I'll get seasick. So I'll put this on once I get to Los Angeles, basically, at 4. That'll be 8 hours before the boat leaves. But I've finished my checklist. I think I have everything I need. If I need anything once I'm down there, I'll probably just have to buy it, but that's the way it goes. So, all right, let's get down to Los Angeles. So these scopolamine patches, first of all, there's a chemical in this that if you touch it with your fingers and touch your eyes, basically you don't want to do it. It's bad. It's not ideal, and it's painful, and it's actually really potentially dangerous to do. You have to actually get a prescription to get this stuff, which I find kind of odd. It's just basically a seasickness patch that you take, and basically all you do, open her up. I'm going to use these hemostats just so that I avoid getting any of this chemical on my fingers. Here's our patch. This is going to go on the back of your ear. So you kind of want it to be right in the soft part of your ear. And then I'm just going to use this to get it to stick. It takes about 6 to 12 hours for it to start kind of taking effect. And it still would be a good idea to wash your hands even after taking precaution like that. Once I get to Los Angeles, and then ideally on the boat at 9, which is about 12 hours from now, it'll be good to go, and we'll be solid and don't have to deal with it. It's just not something seasickness just sucks. It's just not something worth dealing with. All right, gang, we've made it. We have arrived. We're in Los Angeles right now. This is technically Orange County, right? Yeah, OC. Okay, we're in the OC. Pardon, excuse me. We're back again with Troy.
What's up?
Troy's the one that does okay, say the art name.
Gyotaku.
Gyotaku art. from the video where I made that I was guiding him. And remind me your buddy's name again, dude?
Bobby.
Bobby? That's right. It's him and Bobby. And so that video, by the way, booked out my entire season at Pyramid Lake this year. It's absolutely nuts. But we're down here. We have our boat leaves at 9.
Yeah.
Leaves at 9, and we're gonna drive down to San Diego here in a second. But gotta get rigged up, make sure we have everything we need, and then. But I gotta show you guys some stuff real quick. And this is specifically the type of art we're talking about. So these are literal fish prints done with you paint the fish.
Paint the fish, and then take some.
So this was a peacock bass.
Yeah.
That was printed, and then you obviously do the coloring, I would assume, right? Yeah. But I mean, like, look at that. I mean, that's so sick. Oh, is that the original?
That's just a black and white version. Yeah. So that was just what a client wanted. That was some white bass.
Oh my gosh.
Middle East, Mako shark.
Mako, yeah, it was a little Mako, or did you scale it down?
No, that was the size of it. It was a small one. The hook punctured the brain and then it killed it.
Oh, jeez. Well, that's not ideal.
Yeah, but yeah, I mean, there's a lot of the stuff is from the East Coast right now. Moonfish.
Moonfish, yeah.
That was the bonito. We might see some of that this weekend. Those are like the local kind of the local tuna, some jacks.
They fight hard, but they're small and they're pretty oily.
Oh,
but
yeah.
they're good. I've had them before.
They're pretty.
They're tasty.
Yeah.
If you know how to prepare them.
We smoke them.
Yeah. That stuff's sick. All right. We are going. I just put my ice chest away, and then I think we got all the gear we need now. So I'm borrowing a couple of his stuff. Some of the lighter stuff you have.
All the light gear we have. The only thing that we're gonna rent is gonna be stuff that's 100 pounds up.
100 pounds up. So that's for the big dogs. Ideally, we catch some of those, but also like, I'm not gonna be mad about catching 2 50-pound tuna. Like, I'm not gonna be mad about that at all. Or even 1 50-pound tuna. Or even just hooking one and then breaking it off. I don't even care. But I'm just stoked to be down here and we're gonna get after it. All right, so we were just talking on the way over here, and first of all, just look at how lovely this traffic is. Just incredible. This is why we're in Los Angeles. We're in LA just so that we can deal with the traffic. That's why we're here. So we were talking about fishing and kind of like what fishy people are doing when they're doing this tuna thing, right? Because every single like skill in fishing, like there's so many different disciplines, and like certain people catch more fish than others, and it's just kind of the way it is. So like with fly fishing, switching up, knowing when to switch up beads, giving a twitch here and there, like just a couple things you can do that get you 15, 20, 30% more bites, which at the end of the day, if it's been slow, it might be you caught 10, guy next to you caught 3 or 4. So he was saying something specific about fly lining, which is typically pinning a bait and you're just letting it swim. But okay, what were you saying about it?
So when we go fly lining for the tuna, there's different ways to hook them, but basic is the nose or the butt hook or a back hook. But when you send it out there, one of the big things that we always like to make sure, especially when you're fishing with other people, is making sure your line's always tight. Because when you have line tight and it's putting pressure on that fish can feel that line being tugged on behind them. It makes them a little more erratic, and it feels like something's trying to chase them or eat them. So they'll try to swim away from that pressure, and that's what gets your bait out really far. And the farther your bait is at, the more isolated it's going to be, and the more quicker or the easier it'll be for a tuna to just make it an easy meal.
Pick it off.
Just to pick it off, yeah. I mean,
at that point, it's just a numbers game. It's like
it's just a
there
numbers
might be
game.
15 anchovies or sardines darting around underneath the boat, but if there's one that's way in the middle of nowhere, and a school comes through, well, statistically, they're going to eat yours because it's the only one out there.
Yeah, and
cool.
Yeah, live bait too. Live bait's also picking your bait. Picking your bait is one of those big things where it can make or break it. You always want the liveliest one. You don't want one with the bloody eyes or bloody scales. You want one that's the hardest one to grab, they say. So the hardest one to grab out of the bait tank is usually the best one. And yeah.
Nice. It's all a couple little things, little factors. Whether you're whatever discipline of fishing you're doing, there's always a couple things you can always do better. And that is a great point. Right when you said that, I was like, oh, duh. That makes perfect sense.
Yeah.
But I've never thought about that because it's not something I do. And it's doing these things a couple times and kind of learning from people that know more than you, and just kind of that learning process all the way through is what eventually makes you fishy, and just kind of like being able to like absorb that information and apply it every time you go. And it makes the biggest difference in whatever type of fishing you're doing. So very interesting, very interesting. It's about an hour and a half out. Just beautiful traffic. You kind of always just plan 2 hours to get anywhere in Los Angeles or anywhere around here. So we're planning that, but it might even take a little bit longer. But whatever, we'll roll up and we'll freaking get there and make it happen. Beautiful San Diego.
Yeah, baby.
We're here. Kind of. Not really yet, but we're about there. This never happens. Freaking primo parking, front row. Dude, literally, he pulled out. This guy pulled out and pointed at us and gave us a thumbs up. And we're like, oh baby, got our parking figured out. We are going to go get checked in. I gotta get some cash from the ATM. There's a lot of homies rolling around. I don't feel like I need to be walking around with my camera right now, so we will get this stuff together and then I'll start. We'll check back in once we're getting on the boat. Another one?
I agree. Better than sharp stick in the eye.
Whose line is that? Found it. Alright, so quick update. My camera's in the galley, so I'll shoot this on the GoPro. We fished through the entire night. One fish was landed from the whole boat. It's not, the night bite just hasn't been there. Sun's coming up now. We're gonna do a little bit of jigging here in a second, get through a lot of this, and then switch to live bait in a second. Once we get a little bit more sun and once we actually see some fish kind of coming up and busting. But yeah, it's a freaking sweet experience though. It's been cool being on the boat. Met a couple dudes, just been hanging out, having a good time, talking. But on zero sleep. I guess I slept for 2 hours on the boat ride out from like 10:30 to 12:30, and then just got a little nap in. They called it up. Nothing really has been going on though, so we're just gonna keep grinding it out, looking for some fish. But hopefully, you can get a couple in the boat. And I think we'll get some more once the sun comes up. Kind of start seeing fish, run into them, and then fishing on top of them. But we'll see. Thanks, dog. Take one. You're 8, right? 7.
I'll order the quarter drop then.
I don't either. It's just kind of just like meh. I mean, it's fine.
Those are over all. These are bits. Kyler's
Oh, true.
They've been. Sorry about that, brother.
You're good, dude. Ooh, what a toss. Swim there. No, not that direction. Swim to the kelp patty. All right, so we've gone since 1 a.m. last night, or this morning, whatever you want to call it. Without a bite. One guy got a 100-pounder, 90 to 100-pounder. That was the video where the deck was covered in blood. That was the only fish that we landed. And I'm not gonna lie, morale around the entire boat is low, but the crazy thing is the count yesterday, they landed 37 fish for 34 people. We have 37 people on the boat, and we have 1 fish, and I've been fishing all day, been dropping on fish, and they're just not eating. So we're gonna keep grinding out. Hopefully the evening bite or the night bite is decent enough. I just want to catch 1 fish. Like, I don't care if it's a limit, I don't care how big it is, I just want to catch fish. So we're gonna keep grinding out. I have not gone to sleep. Everyone else on the boat is going to sleep, but I refuse to not fish as hard as humanly possible to make this happen. So we'll see what we can do. That's only like half of the adventure, bro.
Yeah. But half is a lot.
That is a lot.
Exactly. We really grinded it out. It's just like, fuck. Like, literally, fuck.
I know.
It's like, they haven't been like this. They've been so consistent. And then today
it's just
literally went fucking the way they always do. But it's just like, I mean, you're telling me today was the day they were going to do that? Like, fuck. You know?
Right.
Yeah. It's just kind of how those kind of things are.
Yeah, man. You know, it's just how it goes. What is going on, you guys? This is going to conclude part 1 of this little series. There's no outro footage because the captain didn't tell us that we were done fishing, and so I sat out there and fished, or sat out there and waited for him to tell us to drop on 0 sleep for like 2.5 hours basically. And was just sitting and waiting for him to let us know, hey, all right, guys, we're going to drop here. And eventually another guy on the boat went up to the captain's quarters and was like, hey, what's going on? The guy was like, oh, yeah, we're already halfway in. No one said a thing to us. So that was kind of a bummer. But, you know, overall, I had a fun time on the trip, learned as much as I could from the people around me. It was kind of a bummer. I was asking one of the deckhands like a few questions just to try and learn and kind of get dialed a little bit, and I just wasn't getting any answers. Like, he wasn't answering my question. He wasn't even attempting to like answer the question, which, like, for me as a guide, like, when it's slow fishing, I'm doing everything in my power to make sure that people are still having a good time. And if they're not going to catch fish, they're going to learn still. And I'm going to make a point of trying to educate people and help make it valuable for them. And there was a frustrating thing where that wasn't really happening, and I'm kind of bummed about that. But hindsight, still a fun trip. We're pretty far in the future now. I'm actually just editing through this content right now. So this is actually going to conclude part 1. I'm going to drop these day after day. So this one's going to go up live today. And then tomorrow, come back and you'll see part 2 will be live in the morning. And basically, fun trip. I'm not going to do any spoilers on that trip on day 2. But it is kind of a redemption trip. I'm going down there with my boss. And we're meeting up with Troy and 2 of his buddies, and we're gonna go fish on the Liberty, a full day trip. I'm leaving at 5 in the morning, so I'm gonna drive down to Los Angeles and go meet Jake, my boss, at the hotel. We're gonna wake up, meet up with Troy, and we're all gonna move over there and yeah, get everything ready. So appreciate you guys watching this part 1, and hope you enjoy part 2 tomorrow.